All right, we're rolling live from the wasteland. This is Freedom Phil, like to subscribe. And what's the topic today? I was watching this clip of this man. He comes into his home. It was Denzel Washington, by the way. And he's kind of drunk. It's ex's house. And the son's all like aggressive and stuff. She's like, "What are you, drunk?" And I was just sitting there looking at the situation where clearly this man's been divorced. And I'm thinking to myself, imagine if men stop treating themselves the way they do. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, this is Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. And why do I always say that? Because, dude, let's be real about it. If I upload this video, you should be watching at least at 1.75. That's why the channel is called Turn Up the Video Speed. It's literally instructions on what to do. Let's get into it. So I'm watching this clip and I'm thinking to myself, like, this guy's lost his house. This guy's lost basically his family. You can see the situation where the son is acting aggressive, against the dad because, you see the situation where, dad is a little drunk, like happily drunk. But the son is acting all about ready to square up. And it's like, you see that shit. You do. You see that shit where you'll see the ex turn the son against the father. And you think about that and you're like, yeah, it's fucking, that's some shit, You do all that work, pay for that house, do all the things that you see these men do. This, by the way, this is a lot of reason I never got married, never had kids. Because I saw a lot of guys go through that experience and I was like, man, fuck that. And I just was thinking as I was watching this clip, what if just for a second, let's just say that surrogacy or eventually the artificial womb was a real thing. Like, you didn't really have to deal with a woman consistently. Like, you could treat women the way women treat men. Except for when women treat men this way, because they do. Men are expected to still pay for everything and do everything. And they're like, well, what do you mean? How do they treat them? What if you treated women like they were just accessories? Oh, what's that supposed to mean? Meaning that they are not the primary thing in your life. They are something to have, you're having fun. They add on to the situation. But they are not the end goal. They are not the reason. Because women treat men like that every fucking day. Yeah, they treat men like they're goddamn disposable. If you're doing really well for a while, a woman will be around. But then, if things don't look as good, you'll start seeing these women shit test these men, get mad at these men. And look, if a man's failing, I kind of get it. But you know what? Here's the thing. Whatever you do as a man is practically instantaneously forgotten by women. She's like, my car's broken. And you go out of your way, waste your time fixing her car, paying someone to fix her car. And she's happy for a few days, a week. But then the next problem comes along. And if you're not instantaneously fixing this shit, mind you, she's free. She's a free woman. She is empowered, boss girl. I'm every woman. All the fucking feminist bullshit. You're instantly supposed to fix her problem. She shows up, and it's an old analogy. I can't remember which one of them said it. But a man is walking down. The man's like a horse walking down the road. And a woman shows up with a cart full of fucking problems and hooks you up. And maybe she dangles a fucking carrot in front of you. Yeah, baby, you do this, you go get some pussy. You're carrying a whole cart full of problems you didn't make. You were a free wild stallion just a handful of minutes or days or years ago. Now it's basically like, just drag this shit. Be drugged down, effectively. And when you fail, when something goes wrong with you, she is quick to take her cart full of problems and put it on the next horse. That even though you were the one making things go somewhere, her problems were slowing you all down. Definitely slowing you down. You are treated like an accessory. You are treated no different than an oil filter. You have a function, you have a purpose, and when you don't serve that function and purpose, we will replace you just as cheaply as an fucking oil filter. So men are definitely treated like an accessory in a woman's life these days. Some women are cool, some women are good. But, when you look at the numbers for marriage, it's only like 15% of marriages are actually happy marriages. They say, 50-50 chance. No, it's more like probably 60% divorce rate these days or more. And then if you look at the primary people that are, filing for divorce, because it's opportunism, you don't have to stick around. 85% of the time, it's women. So I look at all these numbers and being, kind of a mathematical mindset person, I just calculated when I was younger. I was like, man, no, it's a bad deal. Fuck that shit. But I was just thinking as I was watching that Denzel Washington clip, imagine it was different. Imagine for a second we had a world where surrogacy was a normal thing. Or, artificial womb someday in the future. Where if you as a man want a family, you don't have to be financially and permanently attached to some chick who could just say, well, I don't want you no more, but give me all your stuff. Let me see if I got this straight. You're expected to go out there just like that horse to drag that cart of not your problems. You're supposed to go and hop in that car, commute every day, give up, an hour to 2 hours a day each way, or, so you give up 2 hours a day, then 8 hours. That's a 10-hour work day. And you do this for X amount of years, and then one day she's just not feeling it, and then suddenly you're out of your fucking house. No, screw all that shit. Imagine for a second that if you just had your kids and they were your children, and you had your house, and it was your house, and you had legal protections protecting your assets. Like if men cared as much about themselves as women expect men to care about them. Y'all don't hear me when I say that. If men cared about as much about themselves as women expect men to care about them. People would tell you that you're selfish. Well, how dare you expect her to bring something to the table? How dare you expect her to pay her own bills? How dare you expect her to pay her own way? I thought we were all equal. It's one of those gigs where I look at the situation and I'm like, treating a woman like an accessory the way women treat men. And by the way, that's not necessarily a bad thing. She could have her own place. You could have your own place. You've got your situation with your family on lockdown. And, like a lot of women ain't going to really want to be with a guy that has kids. Let's just be real about that. A lot of women are fucking famously flaming fucking hypocrites. Like, who gonna help me take care of these kids? But then a good man's out there working, taking care of his kids. Let's say he was widowed or the ex-wife was crazy or something, ex-girlfriend, whatever. And he's got his kids and he's fucking toughing it out, taking care of his kids. Yeah, most women ain't gonna settle down. They're like, I don't want, that's somebody else's kids. And you gotta realize, there's a lot of women out there, if we're being real about it. Whether they consciously realize it or not, they view their children as a power lever. Like, I will have control over you if I have these kids. I will be able to get the assets. And if we completely fail, I'll be able to get welfare. Now, no woman gets up in the morning and thinks, I'm going to be on welfare, but you better believe they all know it's an option if they fuck up. So having that kid is in their best interest than having you on child support. Now, imagine for a second, we didn't have to deal with any of that shit. It was just, hey, you hang out with her when she wants to hang out with you. She's got her own place. You've got your place. You got your family. And you have good times. Maybe she has kids. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. I don't care. But she is not the number one thing in your life. And even when it comes to the kids, this sounds horrible to a lot of people. I mean, it's one thing to really love your kids, but you got to have enough self-love for yourself to be able to do something great in your fucking life. If I see guys where the last person they have any care for is themselves. Actually, let me rephrase that. The world is the last thing they have any care. You say, why do men become so cold? Because they have to give away all their love to basically a bunch of people that don't love them back. Or their love is conditional. Just like I said earlier with the example of fix my car. And then after you fix the car, less than a week later, she's already acting like a bitch again for the next thing. You have to do this like fucking jump over this hurdle, jump over that hurdle, jump over that. And then it slowly whittles a good man down. I mean, shit, there's a lot of guys out there that would kill for what Al Bundy has these days, considering that, like, these days, the idea of still being married and having a wife that wants to fuck you, that is weird now. And Al's all like, he doesn't want to deal with his wife. It's funny. He wants to fuck any woman that ain't his wife as long as she's pretty. But you look at that, like a guy could work a regular job, still have his house, even if he's in a miserable marriage. And that is such a far cry from where we're at. That's why I say, imagine for a moment, just for a moment, if you treated yourself as the priority and other people in your life were the accessory. Like, you love your children, but everybody else outside of that, like whatever woman you have with you, like if you had surrogacy, for instance, and they were just your kid, like you had your act together. By the way, when I've talked about retirement by 30, I'm not joking with that shit. That's not like, oh, that's for the lulz. No, literally, you went out, you did the hero's journey, you made the money, you got the assets working for you, your house is paid off, you only got to pay minimums like a retired person. And your money's making you vastly more money than you need. Like if you wanted to work during the day with a side trade and then pick up the kids at 3, you could. You wouldn't need to deal with this other person pissing away your money on dumb shit. Honey, but I want a new SUV. Honey, we need to go on a trip to da-da-da. And here's the crux of all of that. Honey, if you don't do this, I'm going to leave you for some other guy. Then your kids will be fucked by some other guy in your house. No, there's a goddamn good reason I never got married. I looked at that situation, and I'm like, that's not a good deal. That's enslavement wrapped up in a moral pretty package. That's all it is. That's all it fucking is. And it's just like, imagine if guys treated themselves like the number one. Imagine if guys stopped treating themselves like someone else's slave/accessory. Imagine if they just started treating everybody else like an accessory. Like you're something we add into our life. You add into our life. But you're not the primary reason. Imagine if dudes do that. And you know what's funny about that? It seems like every guy that's single, that's gotten rich and done that, they have that mindset. They give a goddamn about themselves. Because the only person who's really ever going to care about you, because you know your mama love you, your dad, you don't say words like love, but you know there's that bond. But at the end of the day, the only one who gives a fuck about you is you. Self-love is the only real love there is out there. It's the only genuine love, because the rest of it's bought and paid for to some degree. If you you don't believe me, you stop performing as a man. You stop doing your little like productive clown dance, and you look at how quickly people start turning on you. You start being an individual. You stop just doing what you're told, and you watch how quickly the world around you, your friends, your family, everyone around you starts turning on you. You know, it's one of those things that I look at, and I just think it's funny how we talk about it. Like, one thing I annoys the shit out of me about conservatives, as much as I rag on the Democrats, and annoys the shit out of me about conservatives, no offense if you're conservative, is the way we condition men in this society to be slaves. We say a real man does this, and it basically means goes to work and, throws away his life on a bunch of bullshit. A real man does that. A real man would just bend over backwards and let everybody butt fuck him. Would be Al Bundy for X amount of years. That whole conservative real man argument, I'm sorry, but a real man would have control over his fucking house and what goes on in his house. That's what a real man would do. I know that sounds, ooh. What do you mean he has control? He has control. That doesn't mean he's abusive or anything like that, but he's not tolerating nonsense and bullshit. Because, by the way, you notice a lot of real women do that exact thing. They kick out what doesn't work for them. Now, hey man, if it's good for them, why isn't it good for us? And that's why I say, imagine a world where you didn't have to deal with the mother of your children. Like, you could just have a surrogacy. You could just have, eventually the artificial womb. Imagine a world where basically, yeah, it's your children. And this is your house. And if you happen to be dating a chick or have a chick around, it's because you both like being together. You know? Well, if I'm so sick, we got a fool here. If I'm so sick, why the fuck you listening, faggot? You know what to do. Enjoy the shadow zone. By the way, people, this is why I always turn on the parameters. I don't need to hear from a bunch of motherfuckers that ain't bringing shit to my door, bringing anything good to my door. Oh, shit. Yeah, see, I'm looking at this from a very simple mindset. Imagine a world where I don't have to deal with a bunch of nags. And you as a man don't have to deal with a bunch of nags. You know, people put so much, like, the mother is so valuable. The mother's so valuable. Go to a lot of these subsidized communities, white, black, whatever, whether it's the trailer parks or the hood. Why does it seem like those children without a man around are raised to be fucking women, like the dudes are raised to think like chicks, and the chicks are raised to think like whores? I don't really think a lot of what women bring to the table is super fucking valuable. You brought reproduction and some tits to feed them. Well, shit, baby formulas replace that. Other than just producing the kid, I don't think it's that valuable. And yeah, there are some good mothers out there. There are. Don't get me wrong. But if we are to look at the numbers of how kids are turning out in some of these urban situations, some of these like broken down coal mining town trailer park situations, hell, I grew up in broke ass logging country. Seems like the kids being raised by just women turn out generally with problems. But you notice how they never give you the figures of kids raised by a single father? Oh, wait, because the numbers are a lot better. You know why that is? A man from a young age is held accountable for everything he fucking does. There comes that age where you're not a child anymore and you start becoming a young man and a teenager, and the world is going to put weight on your shoulders. They're going to expect you to go out and make it happen, do something, accomplish something. They're going to punish you if you fuck up. Now, what do you get with a woman? It's not my fault. Oh my God, someone did it to me. How many women are treated like children even when they're full-grown ass adults? We allow them to have excuses. Who do you think's going to raise a better child? Someone that's held accountable, or someone that's a perpetual child raising children? No, the women and the idiots, when the concept comes up of a man having complete control over his household, you're not going to be able to take his house, you're not going to be able to take his kids. That scares the shit out of them, because that's one of the last bargaining chips a lot of ain't shit women, not referring to the good women, ain't shit women have. Like, they ain't bringing, like, a lot of them don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they don't want to do much of anything. All they did was crank out some kids, and they used that as a weapon against you. Now imagine they didn't have that weapon, and you had the choice just to have your own kids, surrogacy or whatnot. By the way, notice how I set up the parameters and stupid people stop talking real quick. Hey, that's how life works. I give you options, and if you fuck them up, that's on you. But I'm just saying, men should treat themselves like the number one. You should never treat yourself like an accessory. You should really view women as an accessory. You know, you are an add-on to my life. Because if you think what I'm saying is fucked up and wrong, just understand this. Every woman, not all, okay, I shouldn't say all, but vast majority of women view you as a man as an accessory. You are an add-on to her life. And the minute you go out of fashion, you're out the fucking door. But you're expected to pay the bills. Now, if you're going to be something that's cheap and garbage and thrown away, if you're going to be treated like a McDonald's bag, and you want to do that to yourself as a man, well, that's your choice. You do as you do. But I myself will not accept such behavior. I'm not going to treat myself like some second or third whatever. Nah, fuck that shit. And I just think to myself, imagine if we had the artificial womb or surrogacy was normal. Just saying. Imagine a world where, dude just had his kids and they're his kids. He already has his act together. He isn't a slave to a bunch of debt. He isn't a slave because he has his act together. And this is the sad truth about it. You can have, in this current society, you can have your act together as best as you could, and you can fuck it all up by marrying the wrong woman. The system is set up to screw you over. Just imagine for a moment if it wasn't. Just think about that. Think about that. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, take it easy.